What's up, guys? It's your girl Phoenix Novell, and today we will be previewing my Bawse Bitch art piece from the Living on Purpose art collection. Bawse Bitch was my very first painting, so she's very near and dear to my heart. It didn't take me any time. I remember that I was sitting in the backyard with a close friend of mine, Lee. And as I was talking to her, I was sketching. I had my hair in an afro, and I wanted to do a portrait kind of like style of myself. I was feeling very empowered at the moment, and I was in this place of kind of like, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with my life right now. I'm not sure what tomorrow's going to bring. I was actually overseas, and because of the pandemic, I came back to the States out of fear because I was afraid, to be stranded if the borders were closing. And I had nowhere to go. A friend of mine let me stay with her, but I just wasn't feeling really sure about my future. I wasn't feeling confident where I was, and I didn't know what I was going to do since I was now back in the States and I had no savings or any a place of my own. And of all places, I was in LA, super expensive, no family here, and at the time, no job. So talking to my friend Lee and getting a new perspective and understanding about one thing that we always have, no matter what happens around us, no matter what is uncertain, we always have the ability to believe in ourselves. We always have the ability to find something to be grateful for, thankful for, and appreciative about. And if you don't grab hold of that, what you always have, regardless of what's happening around you, you will succumb to the noise from the outside and lose yourself. Lose yourself to depression, sadness, circumstances, and anything else that you allow to cloud your sense of worth. So I came up with the idea that I'm going to live on purpose from the inside, because if I have that as my base, anything that happens on the outside that I can't be certain about will always be lower in volume than what I know about myself within. And that's what the exclamation points represent. I have this one on Bawse Bitch. I have this one on my painting entitled King, and this one on my painting entitled Self-Made. Because there are just some things that you need to have with you in life. And one of them that I think is the most crucial is a sense of self-worth. Regardless of what others think about you in terms of their life, in terms of the role you play to them, in terms of their idea or opinion of you. They can't control your sense of self-worth. They can't control your sense of purpose and your sense of belonging and what it is that you think you're here to do in this world. So if you grab a hold of that, if you grab a hold of that purpose and you hold on to it for dear life and you let that represent you, regardless of what you look like, regardless of what you have, regardless of how people put their values or devalues on you or then the questions on the outside don't matter, or the fickleness on the outside isn't important. And that's what living on purpose represents. It's not being afraid of what you know to be true, not being afraid of your beliefs, of your truth, of your identity, of what you look like, of what you have, of what you value, and being strong enough to stand up to and acknowledge that you can't control everything, but you're ready to take it on, because what's not for question and what's not up for debate is that you're here and you're here on purpose. Bawse Bitch was created with a background with oil pastel Right, so all of the blue that you see is oil pastel. The question marks are paint, acrylic on canvas, okay? All the question marks. I don't think the white ones aren't painted in, but they're outlined with a metallic pen. And I was experimenting actually with the skin of, I think, just on Bawse Bitch and King, there are different color dots. So how in my queen painting, where I actually do the blending with different metallic browns, I did dots on the skin of Bawse Bitch with different metallic browns. The base is oil pastel. The base of the skin is oil pastel. Nope, I'm lying. The base of the skin for Bawse Bitch is acrylic. So it's acrylic base, and on top of it is the metallic paint, but it's in little dots. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see that? And I thought it was so cool because, again, I like to be different. I like to have something that stands out that you don't find at other places. I like to be experimentative as well. And I felt like, how can I make this different? How can I do something that's original? And I don't like one dimensional. I don't like it to look so uniform. I like something to be a little off or a little odd, or be like, that's interesting. And so I figured, let me just dot the skin instead of just color it. Let me dot the skin. And so I dotted it with, I think, about 2 or 3 different browns on her skin. So if you feel it, you know, it's the texture is very, it's smooth, but it's three-dimensional, you know. It's not just a solid flat surface. You feel that. And on the afro, on all of the African hair, all of the coarse texture hair, I use an actual coarse texture kind of mixture brand from Liquitex. And it's like a structural paste. This particular one had like if you rubbed it together, it felt like sand. It felt like sandpaper, right? So think of sand in your paint, and that's exactly what it is. The base, I put that down, and then you mix it with whatever color you want it to be. So then, same thing here. When you rub your hands across the hair, you feel that texture. It's a very sandy, coarse kind of texture, which I think was brilliant, because you can do that with the paint, but if you actually add a texture to it, then it just makes it pop even more and gives it that sense of realness and dimension that you want to capture when it comes to our hair texture. I used to always wear a piece of my hair out back here whenever I wear it curly, whenever I wear it in its natural state. And so I had to throw that in there, because anybody who knows me and knows how I wear my hair sometimes, they'll be like, okay, yeah, that's you. Bawse Bitch is what I call myself. And BAWSE came from Lily Singh, who is she's an actress, she's a talk show host, she's an author, she's a comedian, YouTube sensation, who caught my attention a few years ago. And the way she defined boss, you know, the way she kind of laid out the meaning for what that represented, it struck me, and it stayed with me, because it seemed less BOSS. Like, BOSS is kind of like, men kind of like roll with that, and they've coined that and kind of, you know, made that their thing. And I felt like boss was something that I could kind of incorporate into my own little world, the way she spelled it. Bitch is a word that I was scared of for many years. I was afraid of being called that. I was afraid of just what it meant. And I felt like it was such a harsh word and something that people would call you if you were not easy to work with, or if you were being extra difficult or not feminine enough. But because I decided to live on purpose a long time ago, I said, you know what? How can I get on top of everything that I'm afraid of? How could I no longer be a slave to the world that I am, to the things in the world that scare me, to the things in the world that I don't understand, or that cause me to be triggered? I used to tell my bandmates whenever they would play, and I would know they would be playing, but I'd be so defensive, like, please don't call me that. And I'm just like, what is the problem? I push people away because of my insecurities that are just not mine. They are programmed because of what I was led to believe they meant, or because of the power that I gave them for whatever reason. And so I started to own it, and I redefined what it means to me. And it means to me being someone who has their own set of values, being someone who doesn't just conform because it's polite to do so, being someone who has an opinion that might not be liked all the time, and being someone who is strong. So, Bawse Bitch. This one is so cool because it's actually the first piece that I started putting on greeting cards and book bags and other kind of merchandise. It's the one that started off this collection. It's the one that gave life to the title of this collection, Living on Purpose. And it's the one that you'll probably see. It also, right over here, the Bawse Bitch playbook is kind of why I was like, you know what, I'm going to go with that. And I also have a YouTube channel called Bawse Bitch Tips. So Bawse Bitch is pretty much what I think I define myself as. And it's probably the most monumental piece of this collection because it is the genesis of what made me decide to go ahead and put my art out there into the world and not be apologetic about it, not be afraid to share my vision and my opinions, and be open to people's opinions of me, whether good or bad. So if you want to check out more of my art, please visit www.phoenixnovell.com and click on the E2P Art Gallery link at the top of the page, where you can check out not only my art, not only the actual acrylic on canvas paintings, but you can check out the notebooks that I've made. You can check out the greeting cards. You can check out my 2022 Art and Astrology calendar, and so much more to come. Thank you so much for tuning in to another art preview. Take care.